Hey everybody, so I really didn't know how to start this. I sat there and I wrote a bunch of stuff down, like saying in the 60s we had race riots and places were burning down and Martin Luther King died and all of that. But now we have this problem that's been going on since the 60s where it's not just black and brown people. It's literally police enforcing their authority on everyone. But it is targeted mostly at anybody that's not white. And yes, I look white. But I'm not. I just have a very, very white mother. But she sat there and was born in 1949. And now the person that I am talking to in this video, he was born in 1941. And he went into the military in 1958. So he was actually volunteered and was in the military during the draft. And he was also in Vietnam and Guam. And he was in New York during a lot of what was going on. He met Martin Luther King. And I know he didn't sit there and tell everything. Just the stuff that he'd like to sit there and let everybody else know. But you can tell that it hurts. Because it's still going on today. And I feel for him because he's my father-in-law. And he should have the same amount of respect as anybody out there because of how much he has sacrificed for this country. He's such a great man, and it doesn't matter what his color is. He's intelligent, brilliant, and so caring. And I just wanted to sit there and say that before I let him pretty much take over. I just asked him a few questions and I let him ramble on because he has so many stories that he needs to share that I think he needs to share with the world. And these are just some snippets of his life that he lived through during that time of his life, which was pretty much the first half of his life. He's had to deal with discrimination, segregation, not being able to hang out with his friends that are white because they go into a white-only building, not being able to stop at rest stops or at gas stations on buses with the rest of his battalion, out being able to go to the bathroom or going into a gas station because of his color of his skin. And then also finding out that his great-grandfather had experiments done on him. It's pretty upsetting. Anyways, I'd like to introduce you to my father-in-law, Bill Hart. He's fabulous, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so got Bill here. I'm going to sit there and ask a couple questions to introduce you, kind of.
Okay.
So, what was your rank and everything when you got out of the military?
6, 1978. 20 years, 4 months, 3 days, and happy as hell.
That's when you got out, was 1978?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so then when were you drafted or were you volunteered?
Volunteered.
Okay. So why did you volunteer?
Wanted to get away from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was having problems with my stepfather. So it was him and me, so I figured what the hell, I'd go. I was actually too young to go in at 17, so my mom had to sign up for me to go.
Mm-hmm.
And she signed up, I left. So she knew I got a short fuse anyway, and she knew if I stayed around there, it was going to be trouble, so.
Yeah.
I told her I wanted to go, and she said, okay.
That's understandable. I mean,
I keep wiping my eyes is because I've got dry eye, which is a misnomer.
yeah, and it causes your eyes to tear up.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
why in the hell they call it dry eye? It's like calling something common sense, you know?
I think it's because it's kind of like having acid reflux. It's your stomach it actually doesn't make enough acid, so when it does like actually dump a bunch of acid in there, it forces it up into your esophagus, which burns it, which causes acid reflux. That's why they sit there and like you take Tums and it's like a fire extinguisher for your acid reflux. It turns kind of into a foam and then calms it down.
I'll take Tom to get rid of gas too.
Yeah. And then the other way to use Tums for gas, and it sits there and kind of forces your body to sit there and make more acid.
That's something I gotta find
It's like
out.
there's two different ones. Like Tums does the gas and it sits there and suppresses it, and then there's what the little purple pill or whatever. It like forces your body to sit there and make more acid. So like there's two different ones that they use for acid reflux.
Oh, it's not like the little blue pill, huh?
No. No. All right. So what year did you go into the military?
1958.
1958. So
13 May 1958.
So were you in the United States when all this stuff was going down in 1968, or were you actually in Vietnam?
68, I was in Guam.
In Guam?
I went to Guam in 66. And then I left there in 66, went to Vietnam. Then I came back to Guam. And then in 68, I left Guam and came back to the States, went to Plattsburgh, New York, upstate New York.
That's why I was wanting to ask you, because I knew you were around New York around that time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, where were you? And do you remember where you were at when you found out MLK got shot?
Guam.
And you were in Guam and then?
Yeah.
So,
I knew hell was going to break loose.
So when you came back to New York, was it like shit was burning, or was it? I know there was protests and stuff going on for the war and for equal rights too as well.
No, I was getting spit at and a few slurs and all that stuff because they didn't like people that went to Vietnam.
The war protesters and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays everybody wants to shake my hand and congratulate me and all that shit.
Yeah.
And they see me wearing my cap that says Vietnam veteran on it. But where were they back in the 60s, when I was getting thrown at,
Well, personally, I wasn't even born yet, so. And I love you.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a lovable character.
You are.
According to everybody but my wife. I heard a joke on the TV the other night. A guy said, yeah, my wife and I, we've been married 50 years. 3 of them were good. I thought, no, that's great.
This is my father-in-law, everybody, just to let you know. I get to enjoy this every day if I want to.
Hello.
So how did you deal with then you were coming back and you, kind of felt like a pariah, or what, how did you feel like everybody treating you like that? I mean, not just as a black man, but also as just being in the military and,
Actually, I was pissed off.
Yeah.
And one regret of being in the military for more than 20 years was the fact that I put my life on the line for some of these idiots in the States who wanted to throw rocks at me.
Yeah.
And I'm over there putting my life on the line to protect their rights to throw rocks at me. It's kind of screwed up. But, they say stuff happens.
So has what's been going on lately been kind of dredging up some past feelings you've been feeling about things like?
Well, yeah, because I'm old enough to have known some of the really bad parts in life. It's like when I finished basic training in 1958. Left San Antonio, Texas, and went to Biloxi, Mississippi, of all damn places, in '58. And they made me the airman in charge on the bus. All of us that were going to Biloxi.
Yeah.
Now, here I am, black guy, in charge of these white guys and Mexicans and all that stuff, going to Biloxi in '58,
Yeah.
Mississippi. And there were only certain places that the bus could stop so that we could use the restroom, and maybe go in and buy something. And they had the colored only signs up and all that stuff.
Right.
So I walked in place one day, after using the restroom, walked in place to buy something, and everybody in there turned around and looked at me like, oh damn, here comes the coronavirus or some shit.
Yeah.
Well, the stories I could tell you about being in the military, some funny and some serious as hell, but
Right.
it was an experience.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to sit there and get your point of view. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
yours is unique in the fact that, one, you lived in New York during all of this crisis. Plus, you sat there and you were probably in one of the worst states there, Biloxi, Mississippi.
Oh, God, yes. It's a funny thing.
During segregation, like that's...
Yeah, I was on base, stationed there at the base. And I was on the bowling team.
Mm-hmm.
And second highest score bowling. I had the second highest average. So one day the duty sergeant called me in and says, so I wanted to ask you something. And I was like, okay. He said, would you mind not being on a team, on a bowling team? I'm thinking, I got the second highest average. Why in the hell would he want me to not be on the team?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, why not? Why don't you want me on the team? He says, well, the bowling alley is being renovated, and we've got to go downtown to practice, which was downtown Biloxi.
And I bet they didn't have any colored lanes.
Go.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, no problem. If I'd known then what I know now, they wouldn't have had a bowling team.
Yeah.
And Biloxi was the point that if you were on base and you got a cab, a black person got a cab to go downtown Biloxi, you didn't have to tell him where you wanted to go. He knew where you could go. There's about a street about 2 blocks long.
Yeah.
And when you wanted to go to Biloxi, that's where he'd take you and drop you off.
Oh,
Because he knew you couldn't go anywhere else.
Oh, because as a black man, you couldn't go anywhere else in Biloxi?
All the clubs and everything, were on that 2-block area and stores.
They all had the whites only kind of signs?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, I'll tell you something, but not for publication. But anyway.
Okay. Here, I'll pause it.
Came up, he liked it too, but I had her. So, most everybody knew my name, but a lot of them couldn't put the face to the name, so he come up to me one night and said, hey, so you know a guy named Bill Hart? When somebody asks me that, I get a little bit leery. I said, yeah, I know him. He said, well, if you see him, would you point him out to me? Okay, yeah, what's the problem?
See, I'm like that with people. Like, yeah, uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That son of a so-and-so has been messing with my girl. Oh, okay. Who's your girl? Her name was Dorothy Rankins. So he tells me Dorothy Rankins. She'd never even gone out with him. Anyway, I said, okay, I'll tell you if I see him. I promptly got the hell out of Dodge again. Because he carried a gun. He carried a damn .22.
Oh.
And I found out later on, it was kind of like a Saturday night special.
Yeah.
Half the time it worked, half the time it didn't, because he drew it on a buddy of mine one night. And went to fire the gun, the damn thing wouldn't fire.
Wait, in the 22, what they would call a lady's pistol now? Like one of those ones that you put in your garter belt and things. Be like, this is what.
It's about the smallest thing you can get, other
this
than a
big.
But anyway, he pulled a gun to shoot bumpers. His name was Bumpers. He was from Mobile, Alabama. Big guy.
Mm-hmm.
He used to box. And we were sitting at the table. We was at the Tijuana Club, which is another story. Anyway, he pulled a gun on Bumpers and then misfired. And when he did that, Bumpers leaped across the table, grabbed him in the chest, and it took 4 guys to pull Bumpers off of him. And this was the same guy who wanted to know who I was. And I thought, kill the son of a bitch. But Bumpus beat him so bad, and we had so much. Tijuana Club, we used to call it, go see westerns. We'd lay the base. Hey man, you want to go see some westerns tonight? Which means that you want to go to Tijuana because
Right.
you couldn't go in that place a single night without at least one fight. And it got so damn bad. We'd sit at the table. We used to duck and dodge the bottles and shit. So we got used to it. And then all of a sudden, oh, the hell with it. You know, they go over there in the corner fighting. We sit there and wouldn't even be worried about it.
You'd be the dudes like you see in the movies that are sitting back in the back just drinking their beers, seeing stuff crash around each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got positioned one night in the toilet, in there having a leak, and all of a sudden I felt this hot breath in my neck. What the hell's going on? I turn around here, this guy standing right next to me, you know, real close. Oh, you got a nice one. I said, motherfucker, if you don't get the hell away from me, I'm going to piss all over you, then I'm going to beat your ass.
Okay,
all kind of people. Anyway.
All right, so, got that covered. We're, in Guam.
Where's Savannah?
I think she went outside.
What, on the porch?
Yeah. All right, so, did you actually attend any of the protests or rallies for not for the war protest, but I mean on the other side with the, well,
You mean what's going on now?
yeah, even, I mean, I don't even want to call it like race riots, because there was like that one little bit of time, but then there was also the protests for like the Million Man March and stuff like that. Did you go to anything like that at all?
No, I never did. I would like to have gone to the Million Man March, but I was tied up at the time and I couldn't make it. But I never actually went to one. And being in the military, we weren't allowed really to participate in things like that.
Right.
So
kind of against your rules, kind of thing. Yeah.
So we just kind of passed it up.
Right. So what do you see as similarities right now versus back then? Like, I'm sure you see the similar injustices and how black men are more targeted with crimes than white guys are, and even, I mean, it's kind of across the whole spectrum of color. It's that, you know, white people have always been kind of propped up a little bit more than every other color.
Well, they don't understand that they are privileged.
Yeah.
They don't think they are, but they are simply because of the color of their skin. But like I said, I've been around long enough. I can remember seeing pictures of black men hanging from trees, you know, with a noose around their neck.
Yeah.
I can remember, and what was it, 1960, I believe, I was stationed in Montgomery at Garnet Field, and they were going to put Harry Belafonte on TV one night.
Yeah.
Well, he'd made this movie, Island in the Sun, with, I can't think of her name now, but her and her sister both were actresses. And in this movie, he kissed her, you know, and they had a love scene. When they found out that they were going to put that movie on, somebody went out and threw chains, metal chains and stuff over the wiring going to the station so they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
They just knocked the station off the air. I thought, boy, what the hell, this is just a damn movie.
Right.
But anyway, when...
honestly, it was stuff that was already going on. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, I mean, I don't know exactly who my grandparents are on my dad's side, but I am very positive that one of them was either mixed or black, and, you know, the reason why he got put up for adoption in 1949 was because he was a mixed baby.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, people can say what they want, but we brothers, when I say we brothers, I mean the black people, the black GIs, we talk about it a lot. We got around.
Yeah.
We infiltrate. And there was one base at the time that they would not send a black GI to, and that was Thule, Greenland, because there were no blacks there. And they knew damn well if they sent a black brother up there, he was going to find a woman somewhere. And they didn't want that.
What, impregnate all of Greenland?
As ridiculous as it sounds, they did not want that.
Oh my
There was
God.
only certain bases, they'd send blacks too.
Oh my
And
God.
if the country was basically white, they wouldn't send us there. But anyway, back to Montgomery.
Wow.
When that night at the, I think it was First Baptist Church, when Reverend King was there,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a crowd of people outside, wanting to get in and listen to him and everything. Well, I was at my mother-in-law's house at that time, and I lived across town from where she was, and I had to go home. I had to go by the church.
Mm-hmm.
I went there. I got about a block to that church. Couldn't go through so many people there, so I had to take a detour and go around,
Yeah.
But I got lucky. I managed to talk to Dr. King, at one time, and
You did?
brilliant man, yeah.
Oh my
Great
God.
man. And, in my career, I've met some important people. I met Hubert Humphrey when he was vice president
Yeah.
back when I was in Guam. And he came into Guam on Air Force Two, and the president of South Vietnam was there too. They were having a meeting. So he came around to the base, he's walking through the crowd, and I had the kids there, and they had it roped off, and he was on this side of the rope, and I had my kids here, and I was trying to lean down behind them to get him and them in the same picture. And he saw what I was doing. He said, wait a minute, he held up his hands, wait a minute. He raised up the rope and told them, the kids, come on out.
Mm-hmm. They
came on out. So, okay, now I'll take your picture. And I took a picture with him and them all together. I thought that was damn nice. Hubert Humphrey, Vice President, Democrat, by the way.
Yeah.
Very nice man from Minnesota.
Well, around that time is when, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party kind of switched feels almost. Mm-hmm. Like, the Republicans started to become a little bit more, racist.
Yeah, and the rich men's party.
With Nixon and whatnot, and then, the Democrats ended up being the party for all the people kind of thing.
Well, you had Roosevelt, you had Truman, Eisenhower was a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
But the Republicans turned out to be the rich man's party. That's evident right now.
Oh, definitely.
You look at it, and but anyway,
I just don't like how they're perverting Abraham Lincoln right now. Like, yes, he might have been a quote-unquote Republican, but his ideals were Democrat. Well, if you sit there and you think of it now.
Yeah, he was at that time, I think they called it Federalists.
Yeah.
And they changed the name to Republicans, but he didn't buy into this mess they got today, and, dumbass won't say, Lincoln was a Republican. Whoop-de-doo.
Also, Lincoln was the one that sat there and was setting all the slaves free too,
yep,
and he fought for the equal rights of all people, not just white people,
right,
not just Mexican people, not just Spanish, all fucking people. That's what I don't think people are understanding, is that his Gettysburg Address said all people,
we the people,
and our Constitution says we the people, not rich bitches and dumb fucks in charge.
Well, see, that's the thing. Some people, I'm sure you've seen it before. Mm-hmm. They get 2 bits of information and they want to go out and spread $1 worth of misinformation because they got that 2 bits worth.
Oh, I do that all the time with the flat Earth BS that I sit there and I watch all the time, and it's really comes down to the Dunning-Kruger effect. You sit there and you get on top of Mount Stupid, and you think you know everything until you start sliding down and realizing, oh, I don't know jack all.
Well, I made a comment.
I have a lot more stuff to learn.
I look at this stuff online, and some of these people make me so damn mad I could throw my computer and shit out the window, but I realize that they're stupid. And like I said, they're the kinds that make me regret my time in the military, because I put my life on the line to protect their rights to be stupid. Mm-hmm. And one woman came over there one night, and she was spouting off her shit about Trump. And I just finally had enough. I wrote back and I replied and asked her, says, look, were you born stupid, or did you go to school and learn how to be that way? about 4 question marks and one of those emoji faces, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And see, I like to put, when somebody pissed me off, I put that little pile of shit.
Yep.
Then I put the green face where, ooh. Then I put the one where you're throwing up. Oh. I think it goes in tandem, you know, it works together.
You're full of shit, it's making you nauseous, and then you throw up all the bullshit.
Can't take it, so I throw up. I do that a lot.
So you didn't go to any of the protest rallies, mainly because you were in the uniform.
Yep.
When it came to, do you remember where you were at when you found out Bobby Kennedy died?
1968.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that might have been after Guam and you were back in New York. Were you back in New York?
Yeah, I think so, because I left Guam in June of 68 and went to New York. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't June. December. Yeah, because at that time I figured some damn body somewhere didn't like me because all my shipments turned out to be in the middle of the damn winter. I was stationed in Amarillo, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
3 years and 10 months. Got orders to leave. Hey, I always swore, I don't care if snow is asshole deep to a tall giraffe, I'm getting the hell out of Amarillo. Well, it just so happened that it tried. It didn't get that deep, but it tried. They came in, packed my furniture up, and I was going to leave, but it had started snowing, and it snowed so damn much I couldn't go. So I went out to the base, stayed in guest housing overnight, got up the next morning, headed out from Amarillo, of all damn places, to the coldest place I've ever been in my life, Minot, North Dakota.
Oh.
In December, right?
Oh.
And it was so much snow, I was driving 15 miles an hour from the time I left Amarillo all the way till I got into Oklahoma. And I didn't manage to get any speed until I got out of Oklahoma. I got into Nebraska, and when I hit Nebraska, hell, I'm doing 100 miles an hour. Got to Minot. They had a house waiting for me. Yeah, they say, why not Minot? Like I said, the coldest place I've ever been. Now, being from New York, I've seen the temperature go down with chill factor, 85 below zero.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that means at least 50 degrees below zero, plus you got the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And Minot is flat. Nothing to block the wind. I've seen 3-second chill factors. In other words, any parts of your skin that's exposed for 3 seconds, you can get frostbite.
Oh, my God.
And they had one kid there. Well, these kids, they were young, stupid. They go out and work all day long. They got the uniform on. They got the long handles on. They got the parka pants, the parka coat, the bunny boots, everything to keep warm, right, while they're working on the flight line.
Right.
So they get off duty. They want to go party. They want to go to the club. What do? Go back to barracks, take a shower, change clothes, put on a damn windbreaker, and boom, here they go. Now, everybody knows it gets colder at night than it does in daytime, right? But they got on a windbreaker after being out there all day long and all the parka stuff. So they're going to go out, don't want to mess up the image. We had one night, went to the club, and we were all sitting there drinking. We told the guy, he got ready to leave. He says, oh, give us a call when you get back to barracks, because we want to know if you got there okay.
Mm-hmm.
He said, okay. So we sat there drinking. He never called. So I finally got on the phone. I called the CQ, which charge of quarters, and gave him his name and room number. Said, check, see if he's there. He checked, no, not there. I said, okay, do you see him anywhere else? No, Sarge, I'm sorry, I don't. Okay. So what he had done, instead of staying on the streets going to the barracks, he'd walked across this field. Well, this field had this tall grass,
Uh-huh.
Wintertime, it was brown, dead.
Right.
And the snow had landed on top of it and bent it over. He walked across this field, and I don't know if he fell, passed out, or what. But anyway, he was buried under that grass and snow, and that's where they found him the next day.
Wow.
Frozen. They took him down to a hospital in Minot, and they had 3 doors, all sealed,
Mm-hmm.
in the room he was in, because he was so bad, every extremity on his body they cut off. His nose, arms, legs, everything. And they shipped him out. It was just torso. No legs, no arms, no nose. And they just put him in a bag and shipped him out that way. And that was the only place I've been where, now legally, dependents are not supposed to wear their spouse's military clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Why not you could do it? You see women walk around in their husbands' parkers and all that stuff because it was so cold, right?
Right.
Well, it's the only place I've seen that you could do that. And it got cold in Plattsburgh, but nothing compared to Minot. Nothing at all.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know, I was kind of always been a practical joker, you know. I ran into a guy in Florida when we were living down there.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to talking because he was stationed in Plattsburgh too. He came in, I guess, a few months before I left. And we were swapping war stories, you know, and then he wrote up one, and all of a sudden, I kind of dropped my head and started laughing. He said, you know about that? I said, yeah. Oh, you were there then, huh? I said, yeah. He said, well, what happened? Well, what had happened, we had about 3 feet of snow on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
I took a can of red spray paint, went out there on the line and dropped it in the snow. Snowplow came along, hit that can of red paint, busted the can, and started throwing out all this red snow. Now this driver damn near had a heart attack because he swore down he'd hit somebody, you know. And the word went around the base like wildfire. Oh man, somebody had been hit out there. Well, nobody was hit. It was just that can of red paint. And I swear to God, that's the first time I ever admitted to anybody that I put that can out there. I wasn't about to tell anybody that. No way in hell. So, like I said, you know, I like playing practical jokes. I don't try and hurt anybody, but
That is hilarious.
I thought that was funny myself, you know.
Red snow everywhere.
And we get out there. I don't know if you ever seen a B-52 in person, but somebody swore them down one day. They saw one parked over here on the county line at that little airport.
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, where the hell you saw a B-52 out there? You couldn't see a B-52 parked at Indianapolis Airport.
No.
Number one, it's too big. Number two, you got to have at least 18 inches of solid concrete for it to land on.
Yeah.
Because it's so damn big. And you can put it in the middle of a football field. If you want to walk around an airplane, you got to get outside the field to do it.
Yeah.
That's how big it is. I don't know if
Right,
I showed you the pictures.
It's
Yeah,
close to 2 football fields long, isn't it?
not that quite that long, but it's
Like
about
one and a half?
as long as a football field. Yeah, a
Yeah.
little over. But anyway, that was my weapon of choice.
Yeah.
I used to fly over Vietnam and drop bombs and shit on there, and I'd stay up all night long, you know, crawl out to the airplane, pre-flight my airplane, get up in the airplane, go on 100% oxygen, sober up.
Oh, that sounds like an EMT trick. We would sit there and get drunk the night before and then get on the ambulance and say, give me the oxygen
Yep.
and then also give me a bag of saline and we'll be good to go in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, we had a regulator at each seat station. We had a regulator, and you had any up to 100% oxygen, you know.
Right.
So I'd go out there and crank one of them up to 100% oxygen and sit there and breathe that stuff. And
Yeah,
I got
good 5
sober
minutes
quick.
of that. You're
Yeah.
awake.
Oh yeah. And we flying over Vietnam. I'd tell him in a minute, okay, once we got airborne, wake me when it's over.
This is
No.
an airman that didn't like to fly.
Exactly, I did not like to fly. And I went in the Air Force, you know, and
He
But-
liked being ground crew.
yeah. But we had 8 engines on the B-52.
Mm-hmm.
Only aircraft has got that many engines to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And each one was capable of kicking out over 18,000 pounds of thrust. So you got 8 engines kicking that out, you can do the math and figure out, boy, that was a lot of power. Well, it took a lot of power to get that thing off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And the wingspan, when you see it sitting on the ground and had a tip gear, what we call tip gear, at the end on each wing, that would support the wing. Because the wings, it would sit there like this, wings down.
Right.
When that thing would fly, it'd get in the air, you look out the window, and you used to see the wing down here on the ground,
Now it's up.
way up. You had a 17-foot fluctuation between where it normally sat and how high it would go.
See,
17
flat
feet.
earthers, this is the reason why an airplane is called a plane. That plane makes the lift.
Yep.
17-foot difference. You hear that shit? Just on the wing.
Oh yeah, and it's still one of the best aircraft the Air Force ever had. But the funny thing is, the day they got it, it was obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
It was obsolete the day they got it.
Sounds like most technology anymore. Like the day it actually comes out, you don't need that shit anymore. We got new stuff.
Well, this was back in the early 50s when they got it. Mm-hmm. But it's still one of the best airplanes they ever had. And at one time we had over 600 of them. But now they've only got, I worked on the D model, G model, and the H model.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've only got the H model, which is the newest ones. So
I was sitting there actually watching about the new jet that they're trying to come out with. That was the Scott knows it. But we were watching a Nova documentary about it from a few years ago, and I was just like, yep, I know a Harrier. Yep, I know the F-16.
Yeah.
The F-22.
Yeah, the Harrier was an English plane.
But they're trying to, I guess, they were trying to make one universal jet for all of the branches of military and be able to sit there and...
I don't think they'll ever do that, simply because...
Because, the Marines have the Harrier, which does the vertical takeoff, and then you have the ones for the Navy that do a short takeoff,
mm-hmm.
and can sit there and deal with the stress of also landing on the aircraft carriers and stuff. So it's like, do you really think that you can... I didn't end up watching it. I fell asleep to it.
Well, that's why I say...
Oh, yeah, baby.
Lily. Oh, she's cute.
Oh, okay, so the one that I sat there and thought of while we were eating breakfast over there was, what did you think when you heard that the awesome twat waffle said he wanted to use regular military on U.S. soil to deal with protesters?
Number one, I don't know if it's legally illegal, but morally it is. You do not use your major military against its own citizens.
Because they're our defense, isn't it?
That's
supposed to be our defense.
They're the defense against the country, the whole damn country, for the country. And you don't use it to kill off the citizens. Yeah. But see, that's how stupid he is. And that's why you got 5 generals who disapprove of it.
Yeah.
Of course, then again, he made that idiot statement, I know more about the war than the generals. Oh, bullshit. The generals didn't know everything about the war, so how is he going to know when he never even been in the military? See, that's...
Other than finding most people that follow him stupid, did it kind of piss you off that they're still backing him and thinking that he's a good war president when he literally draft dodged 5 times because of heel spurs?
Well, they figured, he'll make a good president because he was a good businessman. They forget the son of a bitch went bankrupt 6 times. So how in the hell are you going to be a good businessman if you go bankrupt that many times?
I say that all the time.
And on top of it, the Republicans always had, not the Episcopalians, but what was the other?
Evangelicals, yes.
Yeah, well, some of them got pissed off at him because of that bullshit walking from the White House. But then again, there was a couple of them came on and thought he was right. He's making the walk of Jesus, like when Jesus walked on water.
Oh, God.
I thought you got to be out of your damn mind.
You know what? That's a great picture.
I see, that's a B-52.
Yeah, and
the guy in white was the crew chief at the time. They made him flight line controller. So he left and put him in charge.
Mm-hmm.
He left and got another airplane, and then that left me in charge. Now, at the time, there's only 2 people of my rank as crew chiefs for this big-ass airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Which, not to brag about it, but it goes to show you how smart I was and how much I knew my airplane.
He is brilliant. He says we go back and forth on Trivia Planet all the time.
Mm-hmm. But no, there was only 2 people in Amarillo that, in my rank, see, I had 3 stripes,
mm-hmm.
that were crew chief capable, knowledgeable enough to be a crew chief.
Yeah.
And it got down to the point where I could sign off a Red Cross condition, which meant a Red Cross condition meant that aircraft cannot fly
Yeah.
because something's wrong with it. It's a safety hazard. You can't fly it.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only three-striper that could sign off a Red Cross and say, hey, okay, it's fixed, it's ready to fly.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lieutenant colonel come out there one day on a line, and he wanted me to sign off a Red Cross condition so they could fly airplane. Airman, you will sign it off. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to sign off a Red Cross. This damn thing crashed. Who's going to burn? Me. I'm not signing it off.
Well,
So-
that's the other thing. It's like lately, I mean, I know that being in the military, it's very difficult to sit there and go against your chain of command. But
I did it a few times.
But I mean, it is possible to do. Just look at them and say, "No, I'm not doing that. It's either against my morals, or it's against whatever rules, or it's against something."
Well, they tell you, do it and then complain.
Right.
Well, see, no. Now, see,
It's like asking permission versus doing it and apologizing later.
there you go. Shoot now and ask questions later. Well, no, that wasn't my philosophy. But anyway, he went and reported me, turned me in. Squadron commander called me and talked to me. Why didn't you do it? Squadron commander was Lieutenant Colonel. I said, Colonel, I'm not putting my name on the damn dotted line for this aircraft when I know it's not ready to fly.
Right.
I said, okay, well, the word got down to the damn base commander. He wanted to know why, and I told him, and then it went to the wing commander. Now, the wing commander is the big dog. The base commander works for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him, and he thought that was the way to go. Way to go, Airman, good for you. In other words, that Lieutenant Colonel got his ass chewed out later on for trying to make me sign off the Red Cross. So I basically got a promotion out of it. Well, they sent me to quality control.
Yeah.
Which meant I go out and inspect everybody else's work. I was the only three-striper in quality control
Nice.
because of that, and because of my record. But now this 200, that means that airplane has successfully taken off
And landed.
200 times without an abort.
Nice.
Well, okay, I took over the aircraft with 200. When I left, I had 259.
Oh, there you go.
So I did 59 on my own where it didn't abort. And while I was crew chief, it never aborted.
Okay.
But that's because a lot of times I went out there and I'd do this and do that because I knew the airplane. I knew how to, like if you've got a hydraulic system, and if the hydraulic system didn't work, you got hydraulic pumps on there, you got 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I knew which one wasn't working. I knew how to start it up, make sure it did work. Engine wouldn't start, I knew how to get it started. And that comes from knowing your airplane.
Yeah.
A lot of guys go out there for 2 or 3 hours, to pre-flight the aircraft before it took off.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'd go out there half hour. Plus, I got my airplane ready before, and I knew the aircraft. I knew which systems to check, knew which one was bad.
I mean, if you sit there and you know your vehicle well enough, you can sit there and do a good, quick once one over and be able to spot any kind of problems there are if you're really familiar with it.
Oh yeah, we had some of these idiots come out there. Some of these officers, they thought their shit didn't stink, as the saying goes.
Mm-hmm.
I had this second lieutenant come out there one day, and he wanted to get in my shit, asked me a lot of dumbass questions, about the airplane, and I was patient enough to answer him. And finally, he just got on my nerves. And I walked away, and he said, wait a minute, Aaron, don't walk away from me. Well, the pilot heard him. Well, the pilot and I were old friends. We used to go to Mexico, fly a B-52 down to El Paso, land it, haul booze across the Mexican border the whole damn weekend.
Yeah, I think you told me about that. Yep.
So he and I, we used to gamble together while we were on alert,
Right.
But anyway, he called the lieutenant over, and when he called him over, I kind of went behind the wheel so I could hear and not be seen. And he says, one thing you want to know, Lieutenant, you don't piss off the crew chief. Number one, if he forgets to pull your damn pin out of your seat and we have to eject, You just shit out of luck. Because he didn't pull that pin, you ain't going nowhere. That seat will not eject. So you don't piss him off. Number 2, you don't eat the yellow snow. That time I couldn't help it. I broke out laughing. And he looked over and saw me. He got a big smile on his face. And the lieutenant walked around, looked like somebody pissed in his oatmeal. But that same colonel, see, he and I, like I said, we were good friends. I cursed him out once too. In a good way, because we had an alert. See, in Amarillo, we had 15 minutes to be airborne. If they blew the horn and we had to go to war, we had 15 minutes to be in the air.
Mm-hmm.
The closer you got to the Russian border, the shorter your time span was. Well, from Texas, we had 15 minutes. But anyway, we had the security guard. We had an alert force that had 9 aircraft on it, all loaded with nuclear weapons. Then over on the main ramp, we had another 6 had nuclear weapons, but they were roped off.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a security guard out there with a rifle that would shoot his mother if she tried to get in there without proper identification. So they blew the horn one day. I rushed out there, got there before the crew did, and he was supposed to drop the rope so the vehicles could drive through and everybody could go to the airplane. He didn't drop the damn rope. Or he dropped it where they could get in. But the ropes, they come up here. He's here, rope come up here. And it goes down here the length of all the aircraft. Well, he didn't drop that part.
Oh.
So they came in, fired up the aircraft, and I'm running backwards with my wands in my hand, running backwards, waving him out. Hit that rope, fell flat on my ass. 18 inches of concrete, and I fell on it, right?
Oh, I bet your ass
And
was
I'm
hurting
laying
for
there-
a while.
I'm laying there looking up, and all I could see was that damn pilot looking down at me with a big shit-eating grin on his face. I got him later. I said, "Do you know something? You silly son of a bitch, you tried to run over me." He looked at me and smiled. I said, "You're right, Sergeant. I was going to get you."
I was gonna get you. Gonna get you.
But like I say, we used to haul woos together, so we had a good friendship. It wasn't. I mean, I respected him. If somebody else was around, I didn't talk smack to him, but I talked smack when we were together. Alone. And when I got to Guam, walking across the flight line one day on my way home, bless my soul, who do I see? Him. So he gave me a lift. His name was McClellan, Major McClellan. And he was major because at one time he was lieutenant colonel, but he wore that lieutenant colonel as a spot promotion. He wore it for 4 years, then they took it away from him. So anyway, he found out I was there. And one day, I'd just been working, I guess, probably about 12, 15 hours. Got home, had a shower, one leg in the bed, the damn phone rang. Answered the phone, it was him. "Hey, Sergeant, I want you to come out to the line. I got a tip tank I want you to change." "You what?" "I got a tip tank that needs to be changed." Now, that's a tank on the end of the airplane that holds 3,000 pounds of fuel. And you got one on each wingtip.
Right.
And that's not counting what's in there. You got
In the
12.
nose.
You got 12 tanks in the aircraft, plus you got those 3,000 pounds on the wing.
Okay.
I said, "Who's the crew chief?" He gave me his name. I said, "Why don't you tell that stupid son of a bitch to change it?" "Well, he don't know how." So
Then
what the
how's
hell
he
is he
crew
doing to
chief?
being a crew chief then? "Well, he came here TDY off B-47s." I thought, you gotta be shitting me. "Well, can't you get somebody else? I just came off shift." "Yeah, but I know you can get the job done." Well, hell, I changed a bunch of it in Amarillo, and he knew I could get the job done.
That sounds like the people at my job. Like, I'm asking you because I know you could do it without having any questions.
Yeah, and it didn't make me feel any better,
It's like, thanks, but I just want to go home.
There you go. Didn't make me feel good at all. You can compliment me all you damn well please. I'm still pissed off because I just got off shift. But anyway, I went out and changed the tank, and I said, "Well, you make damn sure that crew chief is there because I'm going to show him how to do it." So he come out there, and I showed him how to change the damn tank and everything. And you had explosives on there because if you ever need to, you can hit those explosives and drop those tanks. They jettison off.
Right.
And if you're not careful, you can do that shit when you don't want to jettison them off. So, let me
So,
see, I'm trying to see if there's a picture of a tank on No.
So here's my question, because you might have seen her go through the back screen of the video, but the older lady is my mother-in-law, his wife. So when's the first time? I've got a question for you. So when's the first time that you dated a white woman? Anyways, was it Kathleen or was it someone else?
Back in the 50s.
So back in the 50s. So I mean,
Yeah,
and it must have been kind of tumultuous because
well, my next door neighbors were white.
yeah.
There's two sisters there. One was in my class at school. She was a senior with me. The other one was a junior or something. Anyway, they used to lay out sunbathe, you know, in the backyard, and I'd go in my backyard, you know, and we could sit there and talk all the time. And that was my first sexual affair with a
white woman.
Yeah, I was, 16? I had to be 16 because I graduated when I was 16.
Okay.
And I don't know what she was. She was
See, you got to be
16,
pretty
17.
smart to graduate at 16 too in the United States. Just saying.
Yeah, she was 16 to 17 anyway. Originally, the family was from Kentucky, but like I said, I had a gift of gab. You know, if I could get one from Mississippi, I should have. Get one from Kentucky. But anyway, that was the first one. So Kathleen was kind of down the line.
Yeah, I mean, you guys didn't meet until what, 78, 79?
74.
74.
Yeah, matter of fact, there was a cop.
So did you guys meet in England then?
Yeah, met in a club. Aquarius Club.
Okay, so how was it in England versus the United States during that time then? Was it a lot more free? Because I mean,
Oh yeah.
well, I mean, you already had the flower children and everything in the United States, but it still wasn't as it was more segregated than the United Kingdom from what I've read.
Right. Well, see, the 70s, that's when soul music was the hottest thing going.
Oh yeah.
And we had the Aquarius Club, which was all ranks club. Anybody could go to it.
And the go-go boots and stuff like that. Too.
Yeah, then you had the MCO Club, then you had the Officers Club. Well, anybody that wanted to have a good time would go to the Aquarius Club. And my buddy down there was the DJ. He had all the latest music because about every 6 months he'd come back to the States, get all the latest records and take them back to England.
Yeah.
And being my buddy, and we shared a little house trailer, being my buddy, I had access to all the latest music.
You were that one guy who sat there and goes, "You want to hear the newest jam from such and such? You want to come back to my place? Let's go hang."
Yeah, I let a guy go there one night.
Nice.
And the damn fool drank up all my scotch.
Oof.
Pissed me off because he didn't replace it. I didn't mind you drinking it, but hey, make sure you put another bottle there. And after that, I wouldn't let anybody use my house trailer.
Don't blame me.
Well, he and I, we both shared the trailer together, me and the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And we were popular here because he scheduled all the disc jockeys from Alconbury, which we were stationed at, Milton Hall, Lakenheath, Upper Hayford. He scheduled all the disc jockeys for those bases, all the bases in the UK, and make sure they had the music, you know. So
Right.
we were popular. I was popular, and I knew all the latest dances and shit. So, you know, we used to do the bump and I can't remember what all we did. But anyway, I was at the bar one night, just leaning up against the bar. And like I said, I go to the club so often they know me. I'd walk in. I go to the NCO club. The bartender there was named Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda see me walking the door. By the time I got around to the front of the bar, she had my drink waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
She knew exactly what I wanted to drink. I didn't have to order.
Yes.
Tell her about when you was on a bowling team and you.
Oh, he told me about that
Yeah.
one.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, in
that just
Mississippi.
kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, pissed me off too, but I didn't know any better at the time.
Well, that's the other thing is like, you know, I sit there and I'm looking back on my life and I'm sitting there and seeing different times where like either my mom got questioned if I was her kid or different things. Like my sisters really didn't have that big of an issue because they had blonde hair, light colored eyes. They were lighter skinned.
Yeah.
But I favored my dad in my coloring.
Yeah.
So like I literally got called the black sheep of the family and things like that. And it was like I got that just from inside my family, let alone outside. My dad's mixed. I just don't know what because they're both adopted. So it's like
Oh, so, and you can't find it?
no, I just found out from my my DNA ancestry, which it has Africa and English and Irish, but it also has early American settlers, which the early American settlers were English and slaves.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, even if you sit there and you go even further back than my dad or his parents, it's probably slaves somewhere down the line.
Oh, yeah. Well, remember what I told you about them not sending us to certain bases?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you
We've
tell
been
her about
around.
your dad or your granddad participating in that
Oh, no, I didn't tell about that
syphilis
yet.
survey?
I don't know
A
if you heard
what?
about that, the Tuskegee.
This
Thing.
Tuskegee Airmen.
No, not the
oh,
airmen. They did this thing there. They had a bunch of black men,
Right.
and they inoculated them with
Syphilis.
syphilis by,
But they
germ.
didn't tell them.
And didn't tell them they didn't know what the hell they were
You can
getting.
research it as well.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah.
it could. It sounds like the children of thalidomide and all that other
Yeah.
kind of stuff around that same area
Yeah.
where
And
they
he-
were giving inoculations and stuff and just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
guinea
we don't
pigs.
know what the side effects are just yet.
Right, but they didn't even know.
They were guinea pigs, you know.
Yeah.
And then
And-
when we were in California, he got a check for $800. I always remember that. And that was a payment from way, way back for doing that to his, was it your grandfather?
My great grandfather.
Your
Yeah,
great-grandfather.
yeah.
So he got.
So you're getting reparations from your great grandfather from some medical facility
Yep.
for jacking him up with syphilis?
Yep.
Yeah, they asked for him.
This is the shit that goes on in the United States. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I don't know if they volunteered or they just rounded.
Well, no, they volunteered, but then again, they didn't know what they were getting.
Yeah.
I mean, if they'd have known it was syphilis, I'm sure they would have said, no, we're not going to do it. But
Right.
they probably lied and told them, well, yeah, this is for that and all that. So they didn't know better. I mean, that was my great-grandfather. My grandfather could write his name, but hell, he couldn't really read or write.
Right.
So until my father came along, my father was the first one could read or write in that line.
Right.
And
Well, I mean, you'd probably be the first one to born. Oh, you'd be the first one born with the right to vote, wouldn't you? Or no, that was just after that.
yeah, well, in '78 I got the check.
Yeah.
But I can't remember when we could vote.
I'm trying. Well, I mean, it's. I'm trying to remember the 19th Amendment. It's the 19th Amendment. No, that's the female right to vote. It's the 15th Amendment that has the black people right to vote, and that
Oh,
was
okay.
during. That was during Abraham Lincoln and whatnot, or just
Oh,
shortly
goodness.
after. That's what that is. But I mean,
Yeah.
even your great grandfather probably might have been the very first one that was actually legally allowed to vote. But I mean, being legally allowed to vote and actually being able to vote are two different things.
Exactly. That's even
Because like
basically
being
here
able
now.
to be able to go into a building that says whites only to vote, you couldn't do it.
right.
And I know that there's plenty of places like that. I mean, even
Yeah.
in New York, there
Yeah.
would have been plenty of places like that.
Yep. But life was rough, you see, and the thing is, a lot of white people can't understand why we are the way we are. They don't understand why I get pissed off when like I said, I put my life on the line to protect their right to mistreat me.
Yeah.
Not their right to mistreat me, but they do it.
right.
And then they wonder, you can't step on a man's toe or beat him in the head and then piss him off and talk about him when he yells, ouch.
yeah.
If you hit me and it hurts, I'm going to say ouch. And then if you want to get mad because I did, you can go to hell because we're going to fight if you want to push it that far.
Yeah.
So,
I know one of my first thoughts when I saw like all the stuff that was like burning down and everything right now was, at some point there comes a time where you have to burn some shit down to rebuild new. I mean, a forest does that. Nature does that. And it's like, maybe we need to sit there and tear down all these problematic, built up people. I mean, it's not just buildings that we need to sit there and tear down the why we have these people up on a pedestal just because they have money. Well, they're not helping anybody with all that money. They're hoarding it for all of themselves.
Right.
And they're not sitting there and sharing it with everybody else that could make this place a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we got to sit there and keep it for ourselves. It's just selfish and greedy. And then they wonder why people that don't have any of those privileges fight so hard for those privileges.
Well, it's like, I don't know if you're familiar with the old comedian called Moms Mabley.
Yes.
Mom's, boy, I tell you, she was something else. And Mom used to talk about segregation shit. She said, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to segregate. I just want to go in and get some, what was it, some kind of pie she wanted.
Oh. I just want me some key lime pie.
Yeah, Mom used to crack me up. She was good. She was doing a party records. But anyway, what they don't realize is, like I'd said, they don't realize that a lot of these times when blacks act up, they burn this out or they do that, they doing it to get your attention.
Yeah.
And my uncle told me a joke once. He said this guy was going down the road. He had a cart. And he had this donkey or jackass, if you want to call him that, hooked to it. And the donkey stopped. He couldn't get it to move. So, he's a white guy. Black guy walks up, saw what was going on. Hey, mister, you want me to get him going for you? He said, well, boy, if you can, yeah. So, he went back to the back of the little cart. He had some bricks there. He got 2 bricks. Walked up to the donkey's head, whispered in the donkey's ear. Next thing you know, the donkey hauled ass. And the guy said, what did you do? What did you tell him? He said, I showed him these 2 bricks, and I told him if he didn't want me to use these or crush his nuts, he better get going. I fell out of my chair laughing then, because I guess I was about 13, 14 years old. And I thought it was funny as hell.
I'm 40 and I find it funny.
But, you got to get attention first.
Right.
And it's, you get the donkey's attention, then you can talk to them.
Right.
You burn down a building, you get people's attention, then you can tell them what you want them to know.
Right.
I mean, sometimes that's going to the extreme. I don't agree with all this. I don't agree with the protesters. Not the protesters, but the looters.
The looters, yeah.
But see,
like stealing all this stuff. It's like
and breaking windows and stuff. You notice in the last couple of nights there hasn't been that?
Nope, I know.
I don't think anybody stopped to figure out why. I did right off the bat.
Well, what's your theory?
The protesters started catching these bastards and turning them in.
Yep.
So they know if I go out there now and I act a damn fool, the protesters are going to get me instead of the cops. They had one, I think in Indianapolis, this guy had a damn sledgehammer or something down there breaking up the wall. They grabbed his ass, took him to the cops, and here, he's yours. Told him what he was doing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reports of protesters self-policing themselves, like or sitting there and stopping the looters, because there's been a lot of instances, and I think you showed me sent me a picture of it, or I sent you a picture of it, of a bunch of white people doing the looting, and it's like they were taking advantage of the distraction of the police over here to sit there and deal with the black people over here, sitting there and saying that we need rights and shit, and they're breaking up stuff and blaming it on us.
Yep, they blamed it on the black people, see? And there was one picture, you could definitely see it, this one white guy standing there with a rock or a brick in his hand, throwing it right through the window. You can see him broad as daylight doing it. And people don't realize, they think, oh yeah, you got looters out there, you gotta be black.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's like that one thing that, I don't know if you sent it to me or what, but it was an Ice Cube. I can't remember what the exact words now, but...
Ice Cube. Yes, I remember Ice Cube's quote.
Not all people are prejudiced or something.
Not all white people are prejudiced. Not all black people are criminals. Right. But ignorance is of every color.
There you go. That's it. And I thought, now that's profound as hell.
That's why I posted it. I was just like, that speaks it right there. Because I mean, honestly, we have all shades in this family. I think, well, let's see, you're the darkest. Then you got
Yeah.
your wife, practically the lightest.
Yep.
You got every shade in between.
Well, it's like I told Kathleen. Blacks are prejudiced too.
Oh, they are.
I can remember when I was a kid, when if you were too dark,
If you were too dark, you were
Yeah.
like too stupid.
Yeah,
You sat
sit
there.
back.
You're the ones that are supposed to be in the
And-
field and shit. And
Yeah.
if you're too light, then you're too white.
Uh-huh.
So you could get away with it. I sit there and I get that all the time. I get it from both. I sit there and I tell people I get that from both sides
Yep.
because I'm just dark enough to get a good tan,
Uh-huh.
but I'm light enough to get away with it.
right? And see, that's just it. And people don't realize that. They don't realize we have our faults just like the white people do.
Mm-hmm.
And education is the only thing that's going to change it, and the only way you're going to get that is by protesting peacefully. You
Yeah.
can't go out there and burn somebody's house down just to get their attention anymore.
Right.
That just don't work. And see, I mean, I've lived long enough, going through all the stuff. Like I said, I went by the church where Dr. King was hemmed up. I remember when they threw the damn chain across the damn power line so they couldn't show Harry Belafonte's movie.
Yeah.
I remember seeing too many pictures of blacks hanging from trees and shit. I remember when they blew up this church in Birmingham with these little girls in there.
Oh yeah, the 4 little girls that
Yeah.
died in Birmingham. Yep.
Yeah, see, I mean, I grew up, well, I mean, I was an adult when some of it happened because I was in the military, but still, all that stuff was in my memory.
That's why I wanted to come and talk to you.
Malcolm,
Malcolm X.
not Malcolm X, no, this guy from Mississippi.
Oh.
I can't think of his name now, but anyway, they killed him because he was a civil rights leader. Yeah, Malcolm X, yeah. At first, I didn't trust Malcolm X, but I found out Malcolm X had his head on straight.
Yeah.
And when they came...
I think it's just because of his preaching. Like, it was similar to Dr. King in its messaging, but it was a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, and
It was
it
just
was the Islam king, that's basically, I guess, what he was.
Yeah.
But you take somebody like Farrakhan, have no use for him. No use whatsoever for Farrakhan.
Well, when I sat there and how about, I'm trying to find like one of the really good leaders now versus, I mean, you had all of those great leaders from back in the 60s and the 50s and everything, but now it's like, who is it that we really see as black? I mean, other than Obama, because Obama's doing what he can, which he can't do much since he's not president anymore. He's not even in the government anymore. He can only sit there and give us words of wisdom, and that's pretty much what he's done. But it's like Killer Mike. He was a good one. He was at the Detroit, Atlanta, like press conference, and he sat there and he's like, "We need to mobilize, strategize, and organize."
What was this Congressman Obama was talking to the other day?
Cory Booker?
No, not Booker. Booker's a smart guy.
Booker's really good too.
But no, this guy's been in Congress. He's a senator, been in there for a long time. He was in the march from Salem.
Oh, Elijah Cummings.
Was it Elijah? Which one was it just died?
Elijah Cummings.
Well, this guy's still living.
No,
They had a picture of him
there
and
was
Obama.
Elijah Cummings, and then there
last week.
was, who was the other guy? Now I can't remember.
But he's in Congress right now.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But he was beat up in that march from Salem.
Yeah, he's the one that brings everybody down. Well, Elijah Cummings did that too. He brought everybody down to Selma to sit there and walk the march every year.
What the hell was his name?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember.
But he's alive and well right now. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
they had him and Obama on the other day on the news, and they were hugging each other and talking because they're good friends.
Right.
And he was in the march from across the bridge and everything from Selma to Montgomery. I can't think of his name now.
I can't remember either. Do you remember? I don't. Shit. Makes me want to look it up on my phone.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, well, here, what would be your one thing that you want to sit there and tell people that they need to definitely remember, like, going forward right now? Like, should we...
You can't judge a book by its cover. You can't say all blacks are this, all blacks are that, all whites are this, all whites are that, because we're all human. That's the only commonality. We're all human. We all bleed red. We all have our own thoughts, whether they jive with each other or not, who knows? But the point is, we're all human beings, and we need to try and get along because we're killing our planet, we're killing each other, and my theory has always been for many years now that if we live long enough, we don't kill off each other before it happens. One day we're all going to be basically the same color, all speaking the same language. Mm-hmm. Because diversity is okay, but the way the world is going now, people are going to change. You know, you got interracial relationships. I can remember when things were so damn bad on television, like the TV show I Love Lucy, popular show. They could not, her and Desi could not sleep in the same bed together on the show.
Yeah.
And they were married in real life and on the show, and everybody knew it. Mm-hmm. But if they got in bed together, one had to have a foot on the floor. No, that was stupid, but still, you know. But anyway, the world has changed, and I've seen a lot of changes, some good, some stalemate, haven't changed a damn bit. But all in all, I still believe if we don't kill off this earth, we're going to all wind up speaking the same language, you're going to all wind up in basically the same color. And I used to catch all these prejudiced racists out there talking about blacks. I said, man, if you got so much against blacks, why in the hell is it you're always trying to get your ass tanned?
Right?
You know? what is it with you? You and you're colorblind. Because the first damn thing you do is what, call me black. I'm not black, I'm brown.
Yes, you're a lovely shade of brown.
I got a kid one day in there who was talking about blacks. I pulled out a damn sheet. I says, what color is that? He says, white. So I held my arm against, and what color is that? I said, and look at my shoe. What color is that? Well, your shoe's black. Can you see the difference now? Dumbass. And he was from Utah, Idaho, some damn way. Never seen a black person in his life. Mm-hmm. Until he came in service.
There are several hundreds of thousands of people that have still never seen a black person in person. Yep. Person. Yep. And that's just because of, in the middle of the country, nobody wants to damn go.
Right.
Except for a bunch of white folks that rode out there in the prairie.
Well,
nobody else wanted to go out there.
When I retired, we moved, Kathleen and I, we went to Spokane, Washington. Mm-hmm. And I decided I was going to go into nursing. Later on, changed my mind. But anyway, I was going good until I got to pharmacology and it kicked my ass. I thought, I don't do this shit.
Yeah, but going from airplanes to nursing is probably not the best idea.
It's a big jump. But anyway, I went through a certain amount of training. I learned how to give shots, wash your hands and all that kind of stuff, keeping a sterile environment. And we went to this nursing home. The average age in this nursing home was 98 years old. Ooh. 98. I walked in and I was the only black in my class. And boy, you talking about getting some stares. I mean, it weren't evil stares. I just never seen anybody like me before, right?
You're brown. We've never seen you before.
Yeah.
You're whole new.
Some of these old ladies, most of them were ladies. Mm-hmm. I'd go in the room where they were. First thing you want to do is reach and touch
How are you?
Yeah,
nice
they want to see if it rubbed off, See if the color rubbed off. And this one little old lady.
Are you real?
And this one little old lady, boy, she used to request me to give her a bath every damn day. Look,
some
lady,
of them...
I'm not touching you in the wrong place or anything, but I guess she just loved the...
I love little old ladies. They don't give two fucks.
Well, I guess if she'd have been younger, she'd have probably gotten herself a black man somewhere along the line. But she definitely wanted me to be giving her a bath and everything. But like I said, they'd never seen a black person before.
Yeah. I had a girl at work, and this was not even that long ago. 4 years ago, her first encounter with a person of any color outside of white was working with us at Red Cross.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and she, like one of her fellow coworkers that lives in Kokomo even, is black, and she's like, I've never seen one of y'all before. And it's like, one of y'all? What? You've never seen a human being before?
Good point. Well, she was from Kokomo?
Yeah, Kokomo, and she'd never seen a black person before because she
You
lived
know-
like out in the country part of Kokomo, and that's even like a pretty decent sized city
Yeah, well, when
to
we were-
Indianapolis.
When I was stationed at Rantoul, because when I left basic training, I left Amarillo, I cross-trained and then got into aircraft, got into B-52s at Rantoul, Illinois. And we used to go down to University of Illinois and terrorize the women, you know.
Yeah.
We'd wear our uniforms, and oh God, they love men in uniform. Anyway, Kokomo was put off limits to us. Because at that time, there was a lot of crime going on. And what was there? Another city, too, was put off limits.
I know Grissom Air Force Base is just north of Kokomo, so I mean,
Yeah, well, I never got stationed at Grissom. They had B-58s up there, which is bombers, but
Yeah.
not as big as a B-52. But that was one of the things, you know, and it's surprising that she's from that close to Indianapolis, Chicago or somewhere, and never seen a black person. Like I said, this kid was from bloody Idaho or
Right.
somewhere, you know, out there when they probably still got
like
people out there.
we're home of the Underground Railroad. I completely I get it. Like
Yeah.
when she sat there and said she'd never seen a black person before, I was like, honey, are you from Indiana? Like we have plenty of them here because we literally were like, we want to get you safe. Here, go.
Yeah. Said on top of that, you should know about them because the KKK started in Indiana.
No. KKK started in Kokomo.
Yeah, well,
That's
like I said,
probably why
Indiana.
you were not allowed to go to Kokomo,
Right.
is because they didn't want you lynched. That's why.
So, you know, it's a weird world, you know, and like I like to say, there's nothing so queer as people.
Yeah,
And I always say this would be a hell of a lot better world if it weren't for people.
yeah.
They ruin the whole damn thing. You know, it's a beautiful world, but they ruin it. And the only live thing they go out and kills for sport,
Yeah.
like those damn Trump sons.
Oh, God, don't get me started.
I'd like to get them on the end of my sights and my damn. I'd like to get my Beretta.
Okay, I'm going to stop there.